Hey everyone, I'm Lauren from Pathways Education. In this presentation, we're going to be covering currency and exchange rates. Today's pathway towards understanding currency and exchange rates starts with money and currency. So to begin, why do we even need money? I know this might seem like an obvious question to you, but economists have actually put significant amounts of work into officially answering this question. First, money serves as a medium of exchange. Because all money has a standard value, it can be exchanged for any good or service. This is what we mean by medium of exchange. Money can be exchanged for other things. As mentioned, because all money has a standard value, it also serves as a unit of account. By this, we mean that something is always measured in a specific country's money or their currency. For example, in the United States, we know how valuable an apple is compared to an iPhone because an apple can be purchased for $2, while an iPhone will cost you somewhere around $1,000. Money also serves as a store of value because it can be exchanged or spent whenever without any form of penalty. Money always retains purchasing power. Now that you guys understand the three functions of money, let's talk about the three types that exist. First, we have commodity money. Commodity money has intrinsic value. This means that its value comes from the commodity of which the money is made of. For example, in ancient times, many countries would use gold as their money. The value of gold isn't determined by a governing body. Gold is worth whatever gold is worth, regardless of what politicians want it to be worth. On the other hand, fiat money's value is assigned by a governing body. The money itself doesn't actually have to have any value. For example, in the US, we know which dollar bills are worth $5 and which ones are worth $1 because of what the government prints on the bill. The physical bills themselves are not necessarily worth whatever's printed on them, or anything for that matter. Unlike commodity money, fiat money can be replaced. We can print more dollar bills fairly easily, but I don't think there's any way to make more gold, at least that I know of. The last kind of money that we're going to talk about is fiduciary money. This is money that has to be exchanged for fiat or commodity money in order to be used. Fiduciary money isn't taken as a form of direct payment. One of the most common forms of this sort of money are checks. I'm sure many of you guys have seen your parents write checks, or may even have checkbooks of your own. So that brings us to our next topic of conversation. What exactly is currency? I'm sure many of you guys have heard the terms used interchangeably, but there actually is a difference. Currency is a unique system of money used by a country or geographic location. Currency is a type of fiat money, meaning, once again, its value is determined by the country it's used in's governing body. Currency differs primarily from money because currency does not serve as a store of value. Because of the different forces that determine how much a unit of currency is worth, the value of currency consistently fluctuates, something that we'll talk a little bit more about later. Now that you understand more about what currency is, that brings us to our next topic in our pathway, different types of global currencies. As we've said before, different currencies are used in different parts of the world. In the United States, we use the American dollar. However, that doesn't mean that dollars are used everywhere else. In the European Union, for example, they use euros. In Japan, they use yen, and in Great Britain and its territories, they use the pound sterling. These are just 4 of the most popular currencies, but right now, globally, there are 180 different currencies in use, the dollar being just one of them. Because different forms of currency are used in different parts of the world, odds are if you're planning an international vacation, you're going to have to exchange your dollars for a different form of currency. So that means if our friend here, who currently lives in the United States, wants to go and visit Japan, he's going to first have to exchange his US dollars for some Japanese yen if he wants to buy or do anything while he's in Japan, because the currency the Japanese use is the yen, not the dollar. I would like to note right now that there are some countries that actually are starting to use the American dollar as an acceptable form of currency because the dollar is more stable than a lot of other currencies there are in the world. Oh look, we're already at the last step of our pathway, exchange rates. One of the most important things that I want you to all take away from this lesson is that not all currency has the same value. 1 American dollar is the same thing as 0.77 pounds, 0.85 euros, and 105.6 Japanese yen. However, That's not to say that you can buy what's worth $100 in America and Japan, but only spend $1. The purchasing power of one American dollar is approximately the equivalence of 105.6 yen. This means that what you can buy with $1 in the US will cost approximately 106 yen in Japan. This relationship is quantified in the form of exchange rates. Exchange rates are the amount of one currency that can be exchanged for another. For example, in the last slide, we saw that the exchange rate of one US dollar is 0.77 pounds. These rates are determined by the foreign exchange market. Some countries, however, actually have a fixed exchange rate, which means that their currency's value doesn't vary according to the foreign exchange market and is instead always fixed. Although this is a bit too complicated for us to get too far into today, I do want you guys to understand that the exchange rate for currencies isn't determined by one person or one thing. Instead, many forces, such as the two countries' interest rates, levels of inflation, unemployment rates, commodities, supply data, and GDP, all are factored into exchange rate calculation. So, to conclude today's presentation, we're going to play a quick game of Would You Rather. The rules are super simple. All you have to do is write down this equation, which should look fairly familiar to all of you guys, at the top of your paper, and use it to help pick whichever option that you're going to pick. And remember to also write down your answers. Okay, so now that you've hopefully all had some time to copy down this equation, we have our first question, which is, would you rather have $100 or 100 yen? Once again, make sure you write down your answers so that you can check them at the end. Would you rather buy a car in Great Britain or in Japan for the same numerical price? Would you rather spend 1 unit of currency in the United Kingdom or 1 unit of currency in the US? Would you rather have 10,560 yen or 105 euros? Those of you who picked $100, Japan, the United States, and 105 euros, congratulations. By carefully allocating your money, you were able to maximize your purchasing power and get the most out of your money. The purpose of this game was to show you how truly tricky managing your money can be. When you travel internationally, buy things in foreign markets, or perhaps even one day work internationally, you have to consider many factors, such as exchange rates, on top of your typical financial considerations. With that, we hope you found this presentation helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions, leave them in the comments and we'll get back to you as soon as we can. Follow us on our social media platforms to be the first to know when we upload new activities and videos. Finally, visit our website, www.guidingpathways.org, to start your journey on a new pathway.